Well, everybody, we are in the North Antrim coast today. We're literally just outside a wee town called Bushmills. As you know, GRASSMEN has taken a 140X digger out and doing a couple of demos. We're with Chris Freeman Son today. And what GRASSMEN know diggers mainly used for in the agriculture sector. So we've asked Generator Jeff, as we're now calling him from our lockdown show, we've asked Generator Jeff to come up today and give us a little bit of talking to about this particular digger, what the changes are. So today we've brought it on to a farm and an agricultural contractor who is digging with the JCB brand, but he's digging with a 131. So Jeff, start talking, boy. We need to know all about this digger and what makes it so special in your opinion.
Well, JCB spent, I think, about £100 million of development in this range of digger, and they've set their stall out that they want it to be as good, or if not better than any of the other diggers on the marketplace at the minute. And thankfully, we're not afraid to have this digger up against any other breed of digger, because the feedback we've been getting so far has been very, very positive on the machine.
What is the initial feedback? Leaving drive lines and all that out of it, what's coming back off people's lips straight away?
The fuel economy is very, very good.
Okay.
The approximate fuel consumption runs between 2 gallons an hour on mixed digging. That'll drop a wee bit, certainly if you're driving it hard, but it is one of the most fuel efficient diggers that's on the marketplace in the minute at that
well,
range.
I was on the digger myself on its very first, you know, I pretty much put the first 20 hours on it there, and according to the computer screen, and this is from brand new, it's saying I've averaged about 9.2 litres an hour, so that's what you'd expect, and I was trying hard.
Our last demonstrator was doing about 9 to 9.5 litres an hour. That was the long-term average over the first 400 or 500 hours. So arguably the engine wasn't even ran in yet, but around 2 gallons an hour is what you expect on mixed digging. That's right.
Wow. So what makes it special? JCB wanted to set out to make it as good, if not better, than anything else out there on the market. What have they done to achieve this?
There's Kawasaki pumps in it, so they've changed the pumps. So you're getting more digging power, more hydraulic function power to the front end of the machine now. They have increased the pipework to the front, so it's a 1/4 inch bigger than what it used to be in the JS.
Now, do you mean the pipework for third-party applications?
I would think this is the pipework as a whole to the front end.
In general, up to all the rams and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it means that the oil stays colder. You have less friction in the pipework, and they've increased the size of the hydraulic oil tank in the machine as well. Again, the idea is the oil lies in the tank longer before it goes back out into service again. And the feedback has been that if you're people running flails or hammers, whatever, off it, are getting more hydraulic power for your auxiliary attachment in the front compared to the older JS model as well.
140X LC. Just talk me through what that means.
So the 140X is now the replacement of the JS 130, and if some of your listeners and watchers will see, the JS 145 has now been replaced by the 150X. So the 140, again, it's an approximate weight. On the weigh bridge, it weighs in around 14 3/4 tons, depending on the size of track pads and so on you have on it, but that's approximately what it comes into. The 150X is 600 kilos heavier, so that's weighing in about 15 1/4 ton or so. And say the LC significance of that is it's a longer undercarriage, but that's what we all bring them in as standard, is the long carriage.
Pretty much. I mean, maybe 20 years ago you would have got 15 years ago you would have got JS's with short undercarriages and you couldn't sit in them. You were bobbling about absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
And X is basically what your new range of diggers is.
Exactly. Everyone's X series. That's right.
So I'm reading that on the door and I'm looking inside the door, because that's all different.
Yeah. It's a brand new cab in it. The cab is bigger. It's also one of the quietest cabs in its class in the marketplace at the minute. People are surprised at how quiet it is. And as we were chatting about earlier on, you notice that yourself whenever you're in it.
Yeah, I would have said very quiet. And I think I see it. There is a sticker out of place on the back window. Something about 67 decibels or something like that there.
That's correct. That's correct. There are some other diggers in the market I think are just over 70 decibels, and it actually is more in real life than what the few digits suggest. It's a different scale. Obviously, then they have the fancy seat, which I don't know if you experimented with that or not. There's a heater on it, but for days like today, there's actually a ventilated function. Cools you in the summer and warms you in the winter.
Well, is that on every one of them, or is
that's what you get on the comfort pack, which is one feature this machine actually has. The comfort pack gives you the climate control, it gives you the deluxe seat, it gives you all the window blinds and stuff on it, and it also gives you a Bluetooth radio system you can take your phone to.
That particular digger has the comfort pack in it?
It does, yes. We would bring all our diggers in with standard with the comfort pack on them, regardless of what other spec the machine has.
Okay. Well, it is. Look, there's a lot of room in there. I mean, as I said this in the video the other day myself, I'm a larger than life bloke, and I can sit in there with absolute ease and comfort and enjoy it, which is a good testament for JCB. What particular model is this? Is this top, middle, or bottom? Everything's in a range of JCB now, or what way does it work? Everything's customizable with JCB. So JCB don't really have a certain spec. JCB will allow you to spec them up or spec them down. So say this machine has the fancy cab on it. You can get a safety pack on it, which is a boxing ring and green beacon and fancier lights and so on. You can customize the hydraulics in a lot of different ways to the front end. This machine has sort of standard hammer lines, which for most builders, agricultural contractors, is perfectly adequate. But JCB offer merged controls, high flow and low flow lines to the front. Yes. So if you want to use a grab and a rotator and so on, you have sliders in the joysticks, which is what they call proportional, and that allows you to do it. You can get merged pumps as well if you need to run really high flow attachments. So there's lots of different ways you can customize it. But this machine that we're physically looking at is what you would see as an ideal machine for, say, an agricultural contractor that's looking to run, say, a saw or a rock hammer, and maybe do a bit of mulching, a bit of digging like we're seeing here. Yeah. That's the all-rounder machine there. Yeah, no, absolutely. Another big thing that's changed from years gone by, what engine would be in that 131? The 131 has the smaller engine. Okay, so it's a 74 horsepower engine. That JCB do offer a 131X as well. We don't tend to see them too commonly in Northern Ireland, but it's a slightly smaller engine. I say this machine is 109 horsepower, so there is a bit of a difference, and that's obviously what Chris has noticed from driving his own machine to this new X series. And it's JCB's own engine. Yes, and that's something that's very important to get out there. So JCB, it is for us. In the days gone by, it was different engines would have been used at different times through the JCB digger range. The one reason that some people would go for the smaller engine machine is the fact that it doesn't have AdBlue. Okay, now there's a general acceptance in today's market that all the big tractors and everything's all come with AdBlue now, so people aren't as concerned about having AdBlue as they used to. So if a customer was to buy a 131X from us, it wouldn't have AdBlue, whereas because this is more horsepower, to comply with the EU legislation, it has to have an AdBlue system on it. Running gear, chains, tracks, undercarriage, that's all common similar to the 130, the 131? It's all the same undercarriage. Yeah. It is carried through from one machine to the other. Same the boom and dipper is carried forward from one model to the other as well. But the digging position is actually slightly more centralised. So you'll notice if you have the tape measure out and you measured the digging position in this, it is slightly more in the middle of the machine compared to the JS would have been. And how are sales going for the Denison group? We're doing very well. We've had a strong few months following the lockdown, thankfully, and we've made up for a lot of lost ground that we had during lockdown. Even during lockdown, sales were still remaining. People were still buying equipment, but obviously it did dip certainly. Well, where does the generator Jeff come from? I think that was one of the marketing girls in our office managed to give me that name. So I suppose I would be the only person within Denison JCB that has an interest and would know something about generators. And I think whenever I started Denisons, they sort of realised that, and
I got the task of selling them, and then got the nickname and all to sit. So, and dare I say it, it's starting to stick now. So.
I think it has really stuck now. To be honest
Yes.
with you, we might be partly to blame for
Yes,
that.
yes.
But the shape of the whole digger's completely changed from the 130 series. When you look at the back of it, when you've seen the two of them sitting side by side there, it's a completely different looking machine.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any benefit or not benefit? Or
Well, you see the big black strike points in the back, so one along the bottom, one on each side, and I know I said the word strike. The theory is that if you scuff the bottom of the counterweight along a wall, you only have to repaint the bottom of it. And the older model, if you scuffed it, you had to respray the whole counterweight. So there was a bit of design.
Been there?
Yeah, it was designed properly by JCB.
And that was something they put into the design. The only thing we were trying to work out earlier on there was, when we looked at Chris's own 131, is where we were going to put the sign writing of his name. That was our biggest issue before he said he signed the dotted line.
Yeah.
Well, look, Jeff, thanks very much for coming down and giving us a bit of a quick look round it. It's a pleasure to get out and do something a wee bit different. It is a big part of the agricultural world. We know a lot of these machines, and probably the majority of the machines that you guys are selling are into sites and stuff, and it's a completely different, but it's nice to be stood literally in a hole in a field in North Antrim looking at a couple of diggers work. And so with a couple more demos, and we'll leave her back for you to get her back out onto a few sites and get her moving. We'll try and not put too many big scores on her between now and then.